isn't a one-size-fits-all for almost anything in life. So don't settle for a one-size-fits-all setup. Eliminate the frustration in building with an AI-powered personalized toolkit to boost you forward to victory. Optimize your setup and improve your performance over those cookie-cutter builds used by the rest of the pack. Vantage is iRacing.com's first AI setup builder. Save your time and give back to your personal life. Vantage takes any setup for any track and adjusts it specifically to your needs. Choose from over 100 cars for any paved circuit. A custom-tailored experience that's easy to understand and tested to fit any driver style. Subscriptions as low as $8.50 per month. And for a limited time, new members get a 7-day free trial with unlimited access to all Vantage has to offer. Let Orange Speed Vantage free you of the endless loop of testing and get you back on track to victory lane. Visit orangespeedvantage.ai to get started.
It feels like we achieved something bigger than we originally thought we'd ever do. And now look at it, it's grown huge.
My son Reese was born with cancer. What it ended up doing is it crushed his spinal cord. And when he was 3 years old, he got his first wheelchair and he wanted to be Wally for Halloween. So I thought, I can build one. I can, try and see what I can come up with. And so it started with just, building a simple costume, a Wally costume around his wheelchair out of a Dell computer box. It has exploded into something that was the inspiration behind Walking Everyone costumes. I want to reach more kids, and the only way to do that is to have more volunteers. I want to see every child that wants one of these costumes to get one. If you know a teacher at a high school or a Boy Scout troop leader, Girl Scout troop leader, any type of group or organization that would like to attempt to build one of these costumes or to help out a child, contact us. We have lots of resources, we have plenty of people willing to help build these costumes, but we need to get the message out. So share this video, let them know about what we do, why we do it, and get us in contact with kids who might need a costume or any adults or families that would like to help build a costume. We're here for you.
Introducing Tractor USA, the best way to buy and sell premium ag and construction equipment. Tractor USA was designed to be straightforward, simple, and affordable with zero commission and live auctions every week. Tractor USA auctions offer the finest selection of pre-owned tractors, combines, and other ag and construction equipment from across the United States and the world. Simply go to tractorusa.com to get started today.
Back at Daytona for the second season of Saturday Night Racing League. And after the clash, we got to find out who was able to handle the next generation of NASCAR at 2.5 mile Daytona. Welcome in, everybody, for Saturday Night Racing League. I'm your host, Bradley Cooper, and alongside me here tonight, I have Connor Horn. And Connor, it's been excellent broadcasting. Last season, we talked about all the statistics there at the end of the season, but we can bring up all those overall stats, put them up on your screen. Regular season, Jeff Wright, and then postseason, Jeff Wright just dominated. But overall, we had a lot of winners in there. We had a lot of pole sitters, and here tonight, we've got a new name on that board as well.
Yeah, we got a few new names. I'm sure we're going to add some few names as the season goes on, but you can see the amount of pole winners we had as well. The caution count was pretty low last season because of those Gen 4 cars. They got spread out. Less incidents because of it. The next gen might be a different beast. We saw a little bit of a messy clash a week ago that Alex Bell ended up winning. ended up winning that event, and he's back tonight trying to sweep Daytona week for this season. Last season it was Eric Hutton taking the checkered flag in those Gen 4 cars, but a completely different race we got tonight.
Well, let's take you to your grid now here at Daytona and show you Caleb Weekly with that first-time pole award of 49.171 to put it up front. Starting to his outside here tonight will be Roger Pierce, and then row number 2, Daryl Young, Joseph McWhorter. Row number 3, Dakota Floyd, Alex Bell is going to start in 6th. 7th is Noah Mikowski, AJ Stravato in 8th, and rounding out that top 10, you got Jonathan Smith and Nick Starling.
Then just outside the top 10 is Taylor Butcher-Benjamin, a new look number 10 car for him. Jeff Wright, the series champ, alongside him in 12th. Brian Hennings, 13th, number 74 with the flames on the front. He starts 13th. Chris Sawyer, 14th in the Chase Briscoe Rush Truck Center's type Mustang, and he's in the 14th as well. 14 in the 14th position. Joshua Banks returns. He was a thousandth of a second short last season at Daytona. He's going to try to right that ship. He starts 15th alongside a Virginia Tech Ford Mustang. That's Ryan Carwell, 16th. Ortega 17th, Christian Angel in the 18th position, then Eric Hutton, Chiefs fan, his Chiefs are winning right now, and that Chick-fil-A Camaro, he's 19th, and Jerry Bergeron in 20th.
Rolling out through the rest of the field, but here we go, getting ready to go live. Here at Daytona, Mark Whitley, Chad Klinger, all these drivers set, ready to go. 32 cars, green flag at Daytona for Season 2. Going across the line to lead lap number 1. It was a close one, but Weekly gets it from the pole.
Dakota Floyd almost got it, but just not in time. That was dangerous coming up from the bottom of the top out of the corner. Caused a big checkup. Joshua Banks almost caused a checkup as well in the back to the 14. Oh, look at the crash already! Weekly in the wall, Jeff Wright into the back, and they're still crashing. Reggie Ortega, Alex Bell, the Clash winner involved.
And somehow we're still green. I don't think that's going to stay. I think they're going to have to throw a yellow here.
Let's see. Bryce Shoemaker got big damage out of that, and that's completely crashed the field. And there's the caution manually thrown by Jeff Wright. Obviously, that has to be a yellow. And we talked about maybe lowering the aggression as after what we saw in the clash last Saturday. A little bit of a longer race. Apparently not the case. With lap 2, we did not make it out of turn number 2.
Let's go back on your instant replay here and look at what happened to Caleb Weekly. He went from the front all the way to 15th place after bouncing the wall. Here he is up on the outside. He has the 71 behind him of Ryan. Is that?
What's that? This is. He might be number 71, but he is supposed to be the 70. Daryl Young kind of got into Caleb Weekly there, and Weekly got damaged, but we wasn't. They weren't the only one involved in that. That took out put a lot of good drivers, gave a lot of drivers damage. I don't think we have fast repairs tonight, so you don't have that mulligan like we did a week ago. We'll see from Alex Bell's view what he could see.
McWhorter across the hood, Reggie Ortega on the inside. Looks like the 88 of Hutton down there in the 63 max cost. He avoided most of that. I think he's okay. These cars didn't really get too damaged. I think they're going to be all right here. But, yeah, I mean, it just looked like Weekly kind of went up to the outside a little bit too high. 70 came down in between that and then had the run. I don't know. You could really pinpoint that on any particular driver there.
Yeah, I think what happened at a turn number 4 is that Daryl Young, he wanted to get in front of his teammate. Roger Pierce was up there, and McWhorter as well. They wanted to get in the line. Weekly blocked that out of 4. So when Weekly went to the third lane into turn number 1. I think Daryl Young saw an opportunity to get by him. Weekly maybe pinched a little bit more because of that, but I think Weekly held their line pretty well. I think Daryl Young might have made a mistake, but either way, aggressive driving lap 2 gets a bunch of drivers with damage. Caleb Weekly probably got the worst of that, but even they'll be able to continue, I would think. A few others, Bobby Patrica, Bryce Shoemaker, Ortega, Eric Hutton had some damage as well, but don't think we'll have any retirements quite yet.
Yeah, and that puts Dakota Floyd up on the front. Noah Mikowski is going to be in second. And this is kind of what we saw in the clash. Lap 1, we got around for the very first lap, and then very next turn. Almost identical to what we saw last Saturday.
Yeah, and it took a little bit of a while to get some green flag running in last Saturday, but you know, got to be very careful making those types of moves on lap number 2. If you want to go to the middle, you got to be able to hold it. Got to make sure you can hold it. So we got to see these drivers show a little bit of restraint very early on. We've got a long way to go. Probably got at least 2 pit stops in this race, especially with the 85% fuel limit that we're going to have. We're definitely going to be seeing 2 pit stops in this 80-lap race.
So getting set back to go. I think the lights should go out on the pace car this time by. And we're setting up for, hopefully, not exactly what we saw in the clash, because it seemed like cautions bred cautions the first half of that race, like you said, and then we got our green flag run in. And then that caution towards the end, it just kind of made things really tight. Some drivers that probably felt like they deserved to be up there towards the end didn't have the chance to come back because of that caution, and put us in a weird spot there. But Alex Bell, not to take anything away from him, but here tonight, he's going to be back in 25th or 26th position after this restart. He's already kind of in that spot where it's not like it was on last week's race. He's already in a struggle.
Yeah, but thankfully more time to recover, although no fast repairs tonight. You can still repair these things to 100%. These next-gen cars are very strong, so he'll get back on track and still have about 75 laps to get back up to the front. Just got to be patient, and he'll be just fine.
Yeah, patience, the name of the game, and it's so easy to talk about, but harder to do when you're stuck in traffic for 180 miles. This race is going to finish out. We'll show you up on your screen here Daytona's configuration here tonight. The weather, 92 degrees on the track temperature, 70 degrees in the air. A lot warmer here than it is in Kansas right now, from what I've heard. And 2-mile-an-hour winds to the north. It's inaccurate, though. I think Daytona is slightly over 2 miles, if I'm remembering correctly.
2.5. So you got the miles count is correct. It is a 200-mile race. It's a 2.5-mile track. So we've got, what, 12.5 miles down. Still got a ways to go, and still, like we talked about, pit stops to make. We might see, if we get to that point of green flag pit stops, we'll see probably some drivers take 2 tires and fuel. We probably won't see any no tire calls. Depends on how much fuel you're taking. So we'll see if we get to that point where strategy could come into play.
Well, here we go for the second time tonight. Pace car pulls off, and Dakota Floyd is going to be in charge of the field. Into the Geico restart zone for the 57. Green flag is out, and we're back underway. And already the inside line, you see the 72 of Jonathan Smith giving a good push there to Floyd. And as they go into 1 and 2, Floyd gets shot way out ahead of the 2 Harpoon design drivers. This could be a chance here for them to get a run and get by Noah Mikowski and take over the lead.
They got really nowhere to go, though. I don't think they're going to try 3 wide middle quite yet, so they'll just sit behind and push to 57. That top side, led by Noah Mikowski. Daryl Young might have been involved in that last yellow. He's still pushing the O's 3. Close to that lead. Dakota Floyd continues to lead that bottom line strong through the corners, but usually you see that top line just really shine down these straightaways through the trioval. You could see the run they get about 1 mile per hour or 2 faster.
And all over the back bumper still. The 72 gives another shot here before the entrance to turn 1. He's still glued to that bumper as they go into 1. The aggression level here from the 72, these guys just glued to it. really surprised that Floyd doing a fantastic job holding on to it, but that time a little loose coming out of 2, and that allows the 03 of Mikowski to take over point. See if he can lead a lap.
See what Daryl Young, see if he wants to continue pushing. Usually you try to time that move to the bottom with when that line gets to your bumper, or at least close to it, but only going to the bottom is going to help him because I don't think Brian Hennings is going to go with him. So Mikowski leads this lap, inching towards that bottom line. You almost need to decide right now what line you're going to be committed to. I think I want to be bottom right now, just be safe, but the top side, if you want to go forward, that's probably where you need to be, running that high line.
Some more laps under the books and a good streak here of about 6 of them as they come by for lap number 8. It's looking better, but this car is still very turbulent, and we probably could chalk that up to the setup we had last week. I don't know if the admins here at the league did any tweaks to account for that, but the car looked very loose last week, and if you touch somebody in the wrong spot...
Oh, you got a spin. Someone in the back. Reggie Ortega is sliding in the tri-oval grass on his own. You can see him there. He's crossing the start finish line. He saved it. He didn't hit anything, but seemingly in a pack riding on their own, he gets out of control.
Let's see if he had some help here. He's in a group of cars with the, looks like the 14 of Chris Sawyer, and he gets out of line here. They maybe trying to make a run on the outside, and he just gets boot at the wrong time. Wow.
Huh. It looked like, I guess, yeah, he could have been in a world of hurt with that inside wall. It looked like he went to the outside to make moves, and then him and Chris Sawyer somehow came together. Kind of went out of view at a bad spot, but 2 and 14, the way they came together, but somehow the 2 still in the race could have been totaled. Meanwhile, Dakota Floyd still leading that bottom. There's no change. Floyd leading the bottom, Mikowski leading the top, and the Butcher driver same, Jonathan Smith and Daryl Young. Harpoon Designs Racing strong at the front. You can see Daryl Young lift there in the middle of the corner, probably getting the temps too hot, and that's going to hurt that top line's run down this back straightaway.
On board here with Roger Pierce in the number 76. He's sitting back in 7th position now. He started just behind Caleb Weekly. We're talking about a 10th of a second, which doesn't happen too often at Daytona, where drivers are able to get that much of a gap. It was almost a full 10th that Weekly had put up. So kudos to him, but unfortunate that he's now sitting back outside the top 10. Struggle for our pole sitter here tonight. He's back in 28th spot.
Yeah, just one of those cars riding now, either with damage or just trying to stay out of the lead pack. See if they get back to the front soon enough. But meanwhile, front pack's pretty rowdy, not going 2-3 wide like we saw last Saturday, but, you know, still very aggressive with the bumps. Daryl Young, Mikowski, very aggressive. As are the guys on the bottom. Roger Pierce almost went 3 wide middle out of line, got a big run off the bumper of Stravato. Once that front of the line stacks up, creates that accordion effect we saw happen so many times last week. That's what causes a lot of crashes, but in a longer race, you're probably going to see drivers be more aware of that and call it out more and just try to keep everyone else safe, including themselves. So you got to be a little bit of a team player for a while and just prevent that stuff from happening.
Looked like the 5 of McFadden was looking to the middle there for a moment. Thought maybe he was going to take it 3 wide, but I think this early, no one's going to really go with you. And look, he's looking, peeking again. 71 or 77, someone in the wall back there. So now they are going to follow suit.
Like Whitley tried going to the outside of someone there and just kind of got squeezed. That was McFadden in the middle squeezing Whitley, so that was a hairy moment. There's not too much room for 3 wide here, but it should be able to do, but Whitley almost got the squeeze into the wall there. As these guys will not give up this battle. These 2 lines at the front are still very strong.
So Mikowski's leading some laps here, ticking them away. He's got 5 of them under the belt, and that outside, kind of like what we saw in the Clash, looks really strong up top. They get a good run, able to pull out 3 or 4 car lengths over the inside. Evens back up through the turns, but Mikowski has just enough of an edge with that 71, or it's being scored as the 70 of Daryl Young. Now a big surge here on the inside, and the Harpoon Design drivers split 2 wide here.
Oh, we're
And
going
three
3
wide.
wide. Another crash. It is going to be a big crash.
Innings involved. He slides to the inside wall.
Oh,
Mikowski, another hit to the inside wall.
Michael Kostick took a big hit at the end of that. Just lap 13, lap 14. There's just not much reason to be making those types of aggressive moves, and the blocks are even worse. And that was another case of just another 2 cars coming together, racing too hard. We'll see here. Jonathan Smith tries that block. It's too late, and it's took out a number of cars. Jeff right through the grass. Yeah, the one, Kostick took a huge hit, and like you said, Michael Kostick, Mikowski, excuse me, took a big hit to that inside wall.
It's right on board here with the 74, Brian Hennings.
There goes Smith up top. You can see it, probably see something happening, and then it just happens. There's nowhere to go. Even inside the 0-3. Pretty decent hit to the front end, but he might be able to continue.
And then let's look at Kostick's ride here.
He was still on the lead pack, riding straight. Chris Sawyer just spun under yellow. We'll get back to that in a moment, but see smoke. Oh, looked like he got hit. And just nowhere to go.
So that involved at least 10 cars, and that brings out our second yellow of the night, and cars coming down pit road now. It's like Dakota Floyd leading them in.
And I did get a look at what happened to Chris Sawyer under yellow, and I will just say he did not go around and wreck under yellow on his own. As looks like Floyd will come out of pit road in the lead. Here's Eric Hutton gets up to second through all this. We're going to see new players at the front after some of the ones at the front got involved in that. Then Carwile, who's the front-running number 71 car now.
See if we can go back and find what happened. Oh. I see.
Let's get a better view. Here comes Ortega back. And you could probably tell by my voice there. See what's coming, and yeah, I guess that's what you do. Not even 15 laps into the regular season, and we have tempers flaring.
Yeah, it's kind of uncharacteristic of Ortega to come back and do something like that. But now both them guys find themselves on pit road getting damage repaired, and the frustration's starting to sink in for some of these drivers already. 15 laps into the regular season. I'm sure the 14 will remember that. The 2 will remember that, and they'll take it into next week.
There's one thing these drivers are going to have to get used to is that these things are bulky, and you could repair them pretty easily, but that doesn't mean you just ride around and just start wrecking cars. I mean, we saw it so much last week. We hoped it'd be better. So far, 2 cautions and 15 laps, and it's not getting much better. So you got all the room in the world, and you got all the bulk in the world out of these cars to be able to beat and bang, but sometimes it's a little too much. Plus it just seems like any sort of little contact is going to spin you around. So you just got to be more aware of the moves you're making this early on. It's a block I could understand probably with 5 to go, but there's just no reason to block like that right now.
Now as we look through the field here, 31 cars starting this race, 37 started at the Clash, and so even reducing the field a little bit here, it hasn't seemed to coerce that caution count just yet. We'll have to wait and see, though. These guys might settle down tonight. No fast repairs. Again, reminder to anybody watching this broadcast right now, they had a fast repair last week, and that's kind of what we were chalking up the aggression to, was guys felt that they could go out there, and there was money on the line there with Tractor USA supplying $150, 100 of it going to the winner of the Clash, and Alex Bell was able to capitalize on that with what, in my opinion, is an amazing block. Made that car 3 lanes wide for the last 2,000 feet.
Yeah, it was one of the blocks was on Travado. Travado just couldn't find a way by. He did a great job defending for about 4 or 5 cars that had a run on him. So he was able to tackle this track once. He has to do it again from the back, but keep talking about plenty of time to get up there. But you got to be able to survive long enough to be able to get up there and compete for this win. And some drivers are finding that to be a tough challenge so far. As our first retirement of this race looks to be Nick Starling. He has big damage on pit road, did not get back going out of the car. So we'll be down at least one of our drivers. That leaves us with 30. Everyone else still on the lead lap.
Back here coming out of turn 4. And we should be set up for another green flag as the field tightens up. Double file all the way back to 30th position. Well, I said that. Well, I meant about 22nd position. These guys, some of these drivers that came down pit road several times to get damage repaired. But here we go for the 3rd time tonight into the restart zone, and Dakota Floyd hits the loud pedal. We're back live here at Daytona, Saturday Night Racing League. Look at Eric Hutton. He was caught up in that first caution. Now finds the Chick-fil-A 88 on the outside of Dakota Floyd. He has a little bit of help from the 77.
Winner last season, trying to go back-to-back into different types of cars. Two types of different generations. As lead down the back straight away. See if he keeps it. Not much of a push. Not much organization in the top line yet, so that bottom line should surge into 3, and it does.
A good shove there on the back bumper. The 77 trying to get him going. Can't get anything yet, and there's Jeff Wright.
Oh, we're crashing again. Hutton got turned by Mark Whitley. And yeah. Sweden gets turned. Travado up ahead. Around. Just darn near the same thing.
So rough start to the season here, and it seems that this car is the culprit. These guys have barely pushed on each other, but they're really sending it. What used to be a pretty stable car, you didn't have to hit as square like you do with the other ones. Looks like it's changed quite a bit here.
Yeah, not quite sure. We'll see. I mean, it's the same thing. Whitley gets on the right rear and gets into the 88, and then Travado just trying to avoid. That's what turns Chuck Sweeting around. I don't think Sweeting got too much damage, but either way, Whitley was complaining over the radio that Hutton just wasn't going, so he kept trying to get to the outside of him. He was a little patient.
I mean, yeah, he's not going. He's got no one in front of him for draft. Yeah. I mean, he's gonna lose that momentum on the outside. Especially coming off of 4, you gotta maybe on that back bumper square though. Let's go one more time. I want to see Hutton's perspective here. Let's back it up a little bit more.
That Daytona grass is gonna get mowed a lot tonight at this rate.
And they're doing it for free.
Yeah, and you see, his 88's not going, but he's full throttle, not lifting or anything. The 77 not square through turn 4 as he gets to the right rear trying to pass, and there's no room for it. So, I don't know, tough situation, but once again, it's so early, it's not that big of a deal. So, I don't know, looks like Ryan Carwile, meanwhile, he's dropped out of the race. That might have been an all-time 4 for all I know, but there's only 171 now. So he's not square. You really need to be square to be pushing for pace, and he's not really doing that.
Yeah, and that might be why he felt that the 88 wasn't going, because he was upsetting the suspension on that car, and Hutton had to lift out of the throttle every time that happened. I don't know entirely.
Sweet,
heavy contact is. I was going to say the 03 Mikowski runs into the back of the 77 after the fact.
Yeah, I saw that too. Carwell's back in, so that must have been internet related. Mikowski's in. The 03 doesn't look too bad. That 75 took a harder hit than I thought, but even that car looks okay. But that's another thing. We keep talking about these next-gen cars. You can be involved in all these wrecks. You'll probably still be able to survive, as I'm sure everyone who was involved in that one's probably going to stay in this race. Except, well, maybe not Eric Hutton, because that is a big bit of right front damage. Travado got a decent bit as well. So
looking through right now at the list of names that any drivers come to mind right now that you would. I mean, we had a prediction chart here tonight. We have statistical odds of some drivers. So
I mean, it could be anyone at this rate. I haven't seen anyone that's staying above everyone besides, I guess, Dakota Floyd. He's been like the only constant at the front. Everyone else has been all over the place. But hell, if I'm picking anyone, it's probably still going to be Joshua Banks. He's at least back up to 5th right now. But who knows who's going to survive this race? My pick will be Banks anyways.
speaking of Banks, let's get him up here while we have a chance into the broadcast booth. The 35, Joshua Banks. It's Bradley Cooper and Connor Horn. Do you got a copy?
I got you, brother.
So, kind of more of the same. We picked up right where we left off from the Clash, and these guys are having struggles here tonight.
Yeah. I don't know why we're racing like we are, but I'm just thankful we're able to make it through the wrecks. We've been through some couple close ones, and the car's still straight, no damage. And we're now up front here, which I don't know how. It don't matter. Like it seems like, because you be in the back, you get involved, maybe be in the front, you're the cause of the wreck. I don't know, man. We're just lucky to be up front right now.
Well, we've still got a lot of laps to go, a quarter of the way through this race, and as we get doubled back up, what's your strategy here now that you're at the front? Do you go for the lead and try to play the clean air game and hope nobody runs you over, or do you just kind of sit tight here for a little while?
I mean, Bell and I are going to work together like we always do at these plate tracks, so we're just going to try to keep it straight. You know, we want to be up here in the front to contend for the win near the end, but we don't want to be putting ourselves in a spot where it takes us out. So it's kind of just juggling marbles right now. We don't know exactly. We're just going to play it out and see how the marbles roll and try to get it to the finish.
Well, we appreciate your time. Joshua Banks, driver of the number 35, Oakley Matco Tools Camaro. We appreciate your time, buddy.
All right. Thank you, buddy.
So he's working with the 15 of Alex Bell, and I mean, that's the guy you want to work with. Won the Clash. He knows how to get around this place, and maybe the 35, maybe you're onto something there.
That's still going to be my pick regardless. A 15 could take it from him easily, but Banks is just aggressive enough. I mean, he only needs 1 more thousandth of a second to be the winner last season in the Gen 4, so you got to think he's got to do a little. You don't really have to do that much better to win when you're 1,000th off one time, so he's got to get some redemption. But you got to get through Dakota Floyd first. He's probably led the most laps today.
Green flag back out in the air on lap 21, and Floyd into turn 1. I've said that probably 3 times here tonight, but here he is again with another constant run and a good push here on the inside.
See that bottom prevail a little bit better through turns 1 and 2, but you could see Roger Pierce side drafting them back, which is important to do when you don't have that run. He side drafts and then gets the run at 2. Roger Pierce is going to go to the lead for the first time. Mark McFadden, Joshua Banks with him, but McFadden and Pierce, McFadden looks to bottom. Banks going to go as well. Roger Pierce gets to block that. That's an easy one to block. No reason for contact there, as the front 5 on the bottom line are clear.
And Banks followed him right up through there, carried enough momentum to get 3 cars by. I don't know if Floyd just didn't get a good run, but now they jump to the outside, and the 24 getting a shot. The Hendrick-style cars working together on the outside line.
Trying to make it work. Jeff Wright back up to the front. Saw him in practice a lot, trying to practice bump drafting as he tried to give a bump there. But now Dakota Floyd's going to be going backwards. 48 to the bottom, pushed by Jerry Bergeron. See Christian Angel, Brian Hennings, Angelo Horonis up there as well. It's a little more orderly at the front for the time being.
And they're still very turbulent here. You see a car jump to the outside. Bergeron moving up high. He has no help. Now the 71 going to give him I don't know if I like this coming out of 4. We've seen this enough today. Okay, he backed it off. So the 71 wise enough here that I thought maybe there was a chance he'd just give him a shot coming off the exit, but he keeps it clean, and jumping up to the outside now is Pierce. Roger Pierce on point.
Early block, but he's going to do so. So Banks is going to have to be the pusher that lets Mark McFadden get to the bottom of the track. Take the lead away. Really sideways in the back was Brian Hennings. I don't know how he saved that car. That was incredibly tight. Got a bump from, I think, Brandon Wallace as they spread out this front pack even more.
Outside line starting to prevail again. It looks like they just kind of slowly build up that momentum, but once you get going, it's hard to beat it.
You can see those two on the bottom. 48 giving them a bump here, bump there, but not really staying locked to the back bumper of McFadden. Which might be helping, might be hurting. They're keeping them up there for sure, but that 5 is still pretty squirrely, even with bump after bump. As now we're back to where we were the first few runs, where these 2 lanes are pretty even.
So Floyd falls back to the third line, or third row of these lines. The inside doesn't get a good run off of 2. The 5 of McFadden trying to get pushed by Jeff Wright to keep pace, but the 76 of Roger Pierce and the 35 of Joshua Banks just doing a phenomenal job. A little bit deeper back here in the field, you got Hennings, who got involved in that accident earlier. Angela Moronis on the inside of that. Max Cost up to 11th position after starting back in 27th, and he will be your biggest mover up here in this top 15.
Yeah, up 15 positions for Cost. Brendan Wallace is up from 31st up to around the 10th or 11th position, so big mover for the 99 as well.
Yeah, I missed that one. He is the biggest mover.
And then, also you got Mark McFadden. He started 29th, and he's up running in the lead currently. So I think that takes it. I would say is here comes Roger Pierce with the lead back. As Banks, both these pushers are pretty conservative, but a controlled, fast conservative. I would say Jeff Wright's smart with where he bumps, and Joshua Banks may be aggressive, but at least a controlled aggressive for the time being. Is keeping these 2 lines even, but relatively unsquirrely. I say that. They got pretty squirrely there.
Riding on board with the number 35. They're just kind of trading blows back and forth. A lot of offensive driving up front here. Deeper into the field, guys trying to figure out a way to get through this traffic jam or just ticking away the laps. What do you think, Connor?
I'm sure a bunch of people who've been in multiple positions that have been in crashes are just riding at this point. Brian Carwell, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, they're just trying to ride for a lucky dog, but Butcher Benjamin's the only driver in the race off of the pack at this time, so Carwell should be fine for that. But yeah, I'm sure guys like, Caleb Weekly's damaged. Mark Whitley was in that last crash. AJ Stravado's back there as well. Ray Massey, he's been at the back this entire race. Mikowski as well, so I think we're definitely seeing some drivers not even trying to push the limits up there and just kind of waiting it out at this point.
And wisely so. I think that at this point you've had 4 cautions tonight. You got to sit back and evaluate that we don't have fast repairs. Things have changed compared to the Clash, and the mindset maybe carried over for a moment. It looks like it's settled down a little bit as we go to lap 28. As we come off of turn 4, Roger Pierce, he gets about a 2-car length gap, but now the 35 dives to the inside to change for the lead.
That time, 76, I don't think he blocked. He didn't really have a choice. Banks had such a big run and a push from Bergeron that no choice to make that, just let it happen. So Banks leads, Bergeron and McFadden get clear. Jeff Wright's trying to push both himself and the other 3 clear, but Pierce is going to get another run. Now it's his teammate, it's Darryl Young, who's back up to the front pushing him.
They're outside trying to get reorganized. They fall back 3 car lengths. The 30 of Bergeron moves to the outside. Banks can't block it in time. And now the 5 of McFadden's going to get up on the back bumper. Maybe 3 wide here for the lead. The 1 stuck in the sucker hole.
It's first 3 wide we've really seen all day. Bergeron in the 30 and Sim. Visually the 1. Got to get that sorted out for next week. But he's going to drop back from the lead all the way maybe outside the top 10 as Roger Pierce leads. Banks leading that bottom line. But not much formation in that bottom line. 48 blinking out won't hurt, or won't help. It will hurt.
Yeah, we've seen a number of guys have connection issues here at Daytona. It's one of the worst places for it to happen. You're relying so much on everyone's connection. You're relying on definitely their talent, for sure. It's tough to overcome variables that you can't control. That internet's definitely one of them.
And it's usually the same suspects as well. Joshua Banks in years prior is always him. Knock on wood, he's good for now, but not going to be happy about not keeping the lead for another lap, as once again Roger Pierce leads with that push from his teammate. A few other newcomers at the front. Christian Angels moved his way into the top 5. Brian Hennings is back up inside this top 10 position.
So Hennings must not have got a lot of damage. Not as bad as it looked when he hit that inside pit wall. The front end of that car seems okay. You see him on the right-hand side of your screen sitting in 7th. Floyd back to 8th. Wallace moves up another position, and that 99 is on his way.
And moving through the field really swiftly right now. Just not really doing anything crazy, just staying in line and just picking the spots off one by one. So see if he can keep this up. Kind of stalled at this point, just inside and around that top 10 position. So just got to be patient. No third line through the middle is going to work at this point as we get the 50 laps of racing to go. We're 30 through it as Pierce and Banks get close to each other. Pierce really has been utilizing that side draft every time Joshua Banks gets a run to the inside through the corner. The 76 always going down there to side draft.
We'll watch here going into the entry of 3 how close they pinch each other. Banks probably going to get a run. We'll wait and see here. There's the run now. But it stalls out as soon as he does that move right there. You can see it stall out off the exit of 4.
That's what's keeping Roger Pierce in the lead. And you got to pay attention to that once we get closer to the end of this race. Because if you're on the bottom line, you really need a heck of a run to be able to make it work. Because that driver on the outside, if they're smart, they'll just side draft you back and you will not get by him. Which really puts into perspective how important being in that top line is. If you're in the right position, that's the kind of line you're going to have to be in to try to win this race. That's where you get the runs from. And that's where you'll be able to have the most versatility to make a pass as McFadden comes off the bottom and makes contact with Darryl Young. Keep it straight this time.
That would have been horrible. The entire pack behind it starting to scatter. I don't know that they would have made, maybe 7 or 8 cars wouldn't have been involved in that. Hey, it's been turbulent up here towards the front. That's where a lot of this has happened tonight.
And it's probably not a different setup from what we had last week. The only difference is that we're in the daytime. That track temp is coming down, but even with that track temp down, our drivers in practice saying it just feels much more out of whack and much more out of control than even last week. We saw a lot of issues with car handling last week. You see that track temp's down about, I don't know, about maybe 6 degrees from qualifying in the start of this race. Gotta be careful because it's going to get a little bit better, but it's not really going to get to a point where the handling of this car is good as Brian Hennings goes to the lead and then he gets bumped out of the way by Banks.
So a quick shot there from the 74 and now stuck on the outside. No help yet for the 74. A little push on the back of Pierce. He's going to drop back in line. About where he started that run. He was sitting somewhere around 7th, 6th position when he started that surge to the lead.
Pretty much back to square one. There's nothing you can really do about it. And looking back at that,
button.
Yeah, hit the reset button, try it again. And looking back at that, Banks didn't really turn him. He got on the apron into 3 and shot him up the track. And I think just to be safe, got out of Joshua Banks' way. And then those Harpoon, Chevy Silverados, wrong series, wrong car class together. Those Camaros completely just dumped them. They're being very aggressive keeping their track position. They'll go to the middle or top just to keep the run up and not get stuck behind anyone. They want control of this race big time.
Well, that's the race for it. You got to control the draft. You have to manipulate the outcomes and make sure guys stay in check. But as we tick another lap away, 35 out of 80 approaching the halfway mark. When do you think? Do you bring it down pit road at halfway? Do we have enough fuel to make it 40 laps? Do you stretch this fuel run out as far as you can? Can you make it in one stop?
I don't even know if the fuel can last 40 laps on a full tank, and we're at an 85% tank, so I don't really know what we're going to see. But we've seen drivers, I think everyone's at least made one pit stop at some point. I just don't know when the last pit stop would have been for some of these drivers. I think maybe lap 15 or so was when Roger Pierce was last in, so we can go off him. Pitting, so which means he pit with about 65 to go, which means if you make it like 33 laps a run, you can make this on one more stop, but which means you probably got to stretch it to around lap 47 or further. So we'll see how many drivers can actually make that work.
Outside starting to prevail. It looks pretty dominant here from this perspective, and the 5 of McFadden has not been able to get the 35 of Banks back up to the front. They've since stalled And that outside line is coming again. Brian Hennings has the opportunity. He can drop down in front of the 35. But he's not going to do it. I know he had a lot of gumption there to try to lead a lap and put on a show. The opportunity was there. He didn't take it this time. Maybe getting a little gun shy. Some of these guys have not worked well in front of that 76 car.
I think it's better to be gun shy right now after the yellows we've had early on. So I don't think we'll see too many crazy moves from most other drivers. Angel's going to stay in that lane. Banks, another surge back to the bottom, but you'll see those teammates maybe not come to protect this time. There he goes, 76. It's really, you got to kind of time it better. 76, when he goes low and the 35's not past him, there's really no reason to go there. But either way, it does slow over 35, and they get that run back. Roger Pierce, Daryl Young doing very well to control this race right now.
I'm really surprised that the 71's not starting to have an overheat issue. It's actually listed as a 70 on your ticker up here with Young, but I'm really surprised that the car's not hot right now. He's done a phenomenal job, and he's stayed glued on that back bumper for, I mean, pretty much since we've went green, he's been on the back of that 76.
Important, not really staying locked to that 76, even with the front end damage, which might even hurt the temps even more. You can't stay locked, it's going to skyrocket. So you got to do what we saw Jeff Wright doing, is just bump after bump after bump. So able to do that and control your temps at the same time, you're doing a good job.
Down the back stretch, another 2-3 car length lead as they go into 3 and 4. It's actually grown more than that. And the 35 of Banks falls back to the 6th position. I think we're going to see some takers here very soon. Somebody's going to drop down in front of this 35 eventually on this outside. You see Max Koss moving up to 6th. And Noah Mikowski, those two teammates. So I think if Koss can get clear of the 35, I think you'll see them dive to the inside.
We'll see. Actually seeing Jeff Wright go to the top side, so he comes out from behind the 35. Just seeing a lot of drivers starting to ride here. A lot of drivers on that bottom lane, and that's, I think they're starting to maybe, I don't know if it's fuel saving, but no one's really being aggressive on that bottom lane, and they're losing ground to the top 6 or 7 on the top because of that. Everyone on the top lane still pushing pretty hard. As we almost had squirreliness. Looked like Joshua Banks came up the track and put himself in the middle. Even Jeff Wright almost came together, and now Banks gets to that top side. So it seems like now we're seeing a lot of drivers abandon that bottom.
Yeah, it's slowly working its way up there. Jeff Wright and AJ Servato, though, they're going to try the bottom. Max Koss tried to come down in front of it. It didn't work out. He's stuck in the middle now.
But now the 48, a big bump to the back of the 33. That gave him a big run middle of the corner. Though they get by Max Koss, but still really not a lot of help on that bottom lane. Even that little bump got him up to that side-by-side battle for 4th with Brian Hennings. Gets that run, they get into the corner. I don't think Hennings is going to be going down the side draft as we come up with the lap car Taylor Butcher Benjamin. They're going to have to navigate. That'll slow their progress a little bit.
Number 10 a little bit off the pace. He had fallen out of the draft, and we saw him a little bit earlier. He's now going 1 lap down. Actually, his 2nd lap down. And they just go by on the outside. Inside line, kind of stagnated. Lap 41. But you know what it is? It's excuse me. Take it away, Connor.
Yes, meanwhile, we're still probably about, if people can make it on one stop, we're probably 6-7 laps away from that. So eventually you got to see these drivers on the top get down to the bottom to be ready for that. You pit from the top, you deserve to get banned from all eternity. In iRacing, at least, not in real life, not that severe, but either way, those Harpoon Designs teammates, eventually they're going to have to find their way down, but got to be careful. You got to make sure you can get down as the race leaders. As Travado and Wright have gotten up to a battle for the lead, and these drivers, Pierce is going to have to really be careful with the side drafting, because these two are pushing very aggressively right now. They got Max Koss, Reggie Ortega, Mark McFadden, and behind them is Pierce, Young, Angel, and a few others still work together on the top side, and now we're back to that kind of gridlock type of racing we've been seeing most of this race.
Well, now that I have my voice back, it's a perfect opportunity at lap 42 for all of you out there watching to find those volume knobs, and let's bring the noise. Brought to you by Harpoon Designs. is Bring the Noise, brought to you by Harpoon Design. This outside is just looking stronger and stronger with every lap. Stravato and Jeff Wright were able to get close, but 76 is keeping him in check every time he side drafts and just stops that inside.
Yeah, it does a great job. And after that, on the bottom line, you push so hard to even get up there. You see the 48 gridlock to the 33. You use up all your attempts just to get alongside for the lead. And 76, 70/71. I guess we'll go 71 for now. You know, Roger Pierce, Darryl Young did such a good job side drafting to the point where once they use all their attempts to get up side by side, that's as close as they can get. They cannot get by without something happening to that top line. That's just not happening right now. So that's what's making it hard for that bottom line to really stay even.
So another surge here. You can see him chipping away a little bit, but as soon as you get that momentum swing, Jeff Wright's going to get the 33 back up there. I think we're going to see more of the same. The 76 going to drop down close on the entrance of the corner, or maybe on the exit, and just stop that run. Down the back stretch, good little push here. The inside line has a lot more cars in it, just not able to prevail. Led by Stravato, Pierce on the outside. Two teammates in the 51 of Christian Angel. He has Brian Hennings behind him. I think these guys just riding around at this point, waiting for green flag pit stops.
Yeah, there's only about, what, 8 cars on that top side. You know, less cars is honestly the better. 2 cars won't go very fast, but if you have a pack of 3 to 5, a line of 3 to 5 cars, that's really the sweet spot for getting the biggest run possible in these Next Gen Cup cars. So yes, the inside line has many more cars, but A, they're not that formed up, and B, the stack ups are really what makes that slower. So that's really why less cars is better for getting runs down the straightaways. You can see those 2 tandeming teammates, they're going 197 in the turn number 3 there, much faster than even the 33 and the 48, who were probably pushing their best right there.
A little bit deeper in the field, there's Bergeron, who made a surge there towards the lead earlier. Things got a little crazy. He's since fallen out of the top 10, sitting in 12th spot right now, and started back in 20th. And kind of saw that with the clash as well. It seemed like towards the end of the race, the top 5 was really crowded by drivers that didn't qualify well, but ended up towards the front.
That's all that matters. That when super speedway racing, it's the track that qualifying matters the least, really. So, not too surprising to see that be the case. You know, just survive long enough, and you can get to the front. So you can get to the front. Travalo got a big push from Jeff Wright, and he's actually going to go to the lead. He's clear, and he's going to get up in front of Roger Pierce. It's a huge moment in this race. Roger Pierce trying to get by Stravato, push him away, can't do it. So Stravato trying to take control away from these teammates. Hennings tapped the wall. Mikowski had to go inside, take evasive action. But now we have a new leader.
And it's AJ Stravato in the number 33. And remember how long he had a streak of just bad luck, especially at the start of SNR season. Remember Auto Club, how hard he made that race. And now, you know, after a couple wins last season,
Here we go. It's gonna go.
Oh, they're going to dive to the inside now.
And Angel went with him, so he's going to be very adamant to stay with these 2 teammates just as quickly as he got the run to take control. Those 2 teammates get it right back. Now Stravato's on the top. Jeff Wright went up with him, but the 33 lost all his momentum. It's going to go back to about 8th position. It happens that quickly. 7th position. It just happens so fast as those 3 get a pretty decent gap. They're dooring. They're 3 wide with Max Cost on the top trying to keep it straight. Now Jeff Wright has a run.
And Cost is around.
Back into traffic. This is going to be another big crash. Caution's out.
And I don't know if Cost came back down across, but it was there with Brian Hennings in the 74. And heavy damage to the front end of the 63. That's pretty much it for him tonight. 73's got a blown engine, so McWhorter's going to be done.
That one's going to take out a lot more from contention this time. So we'll get replay for this one. Starts after the pass for the lead. Cost got put in the top 3 wide by Stravato, and then him and Brian Hennings come together.
I think, oh man, Sweeting, more bad luck for him. And the ones involved, the 99, the Well, actually labeled as the 30, the 5, 29, the 73. Let's go back one more time here. From the blimp camera, I want to see if Cost stayed up against the wall or if he came down across the nose of the 74.
Get a good view. Kind of squirrely there. Kind of looks like Hennings comes up a little bit, but I think the 63 also maybe came down. I feel like they both kind of went to the same spot. It all starts after Shibata loses all this momentum and really checks things up. Hennings tries to push the 33, but kind of what we saw with Whitley. Oh, here's what happened. Cost goes to the top to kind of block that, and then Shibata is... They had actually make contact there, and that's what ruined Cost's momentum. They kind of drifted into each other.
Yeah.
Hennings gets away with it.
But here we are down pit road, and this might be the last stop. They might be able to make it to the end. It's going to be close here. We'll have about 27 laps to go and go back green. Roger Pierce leads them down, and he's been the constant up front. Anybody that's contested it, they found a way to put him back behind him very quickly.
It's to the point where we're going to have to, everyone else in this race is going to have to try to team up and make sure that these drivers can't control the field, because that's what they've done since that last restart. Roger Pierce, Daryl Young, they've been in control as they'll take 2 tires, try to get out first and second. Young got out first, and it looks like Roger Pierce did get out second, so they'll keep control. No, Jeff Wright, I thought he beat him out. No, I think Jeff Wright beat him out, but we'll see if he lets anyone else out. But either way, they're going to be in the same line to control this race. But that's what I was talking about. You're going to see drivers who are not usually working together have to team up to try to just completely take these two down and take them out of the lead. Stravato and Wright tried their best that time. Stravato got clear, but you need more than one driver to get clear, because you're not going to keep control of the race when you have 2 teammates behind you and you're all alone. And that's exactly why he just got blown by and put back to 7th before that crash. So going to have to see some, I would call it co-opetition, because you're kind of still working against each other, trying to, kind of beat each other, but also, you kind of got to help each other out to make sure you guys have the chance at winning. So we're going to probably have to see that to knock these two off, because they look a little bit unbeatable right now.
Well, one of the drivers that I do want to talk to right now while we have the chance is the number 2 of Reggie Ortega. He's had a great recovery after getting sent to the inside. He finds himself up here in the top 10. And I just got to find him here. Let's find the number 2.
Hello?
Reggie Ortega. It's Bradley Cooper, Connor Horn. You got a copy? Obviously.
Absolutely.
So, great recovery so far. You got sent to almost iRacing heaven with that inside wall to the entrance of pit. How did you keep it off of that?
Man, I don't even know. I thought I was going for the inside wall, too. Thought I was going to see heaven. But, I don't know. Did what I could to get it off there and just went for along for the ride.
Let's get ready to double back up. We got to say, last week, you were oh so close to that $100. You came just shy of Alex Bell. You were on the inside, and after that podium, you said you were shaking. Do you think now the nerves have calmed down? You regained that composure? You ready to go?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm ready to go. Mine is set on a victory lane to get that checker flag, and I'm ready.
Well, good luck, Reggie. Hopefully we get to talk to you post-race and keep that thing in one piece. I know it's been tough for some guys tonight, but you're looking good out there, buddy.
Thank you.
It's Reggie Ortega in the number 2. And Connor, I had a heck of a time locating him and realized you had already grabbed him.
Yes, I did. I realized that because you didn't start interviewing him, but either way, it happened. So he's back in Hunt Motorsports, which is a pretty packed channel right now. All these guys working together. Ortega, Horonis, Stravato, Wright, Hutton, and Brian Hennings in there as well. Nick Starling in there as well, but he was the first driver out of this race, so just looking on. Joseph McWhorter, Chuck Sweeting, they're the 2nd and 3rd drivers out of this race, so does not get better so far the new season for Chuck Sweeting. And McWhorter, he never really had a chance. He started 4th, but never really got in a groove. He was involved in a wreck a little bit too early, so now we're left with maybe 27 drivers on track. Ryan Carwell, he lagged out. He gets the free pass. Taylor Butcher Benjamin, I think, took the wave around, so he's now 1 down. And Eric Hutton's on pit road a lap down, and we'll see if he continues because he got a lot more damage out of that last crash as well.
Yeah, and the 63 max cost, trying to get back out there. Kudos to him for sticking it out, but that car heavily damaged. We'll have to wait and see if he can even keep pace. But the pace car pulls off. The 71, well, the 70 of Darrell Young, the 48 of Jeff Wright on the front row, and we're back underway. 76, gonna return the favor, maybe? Let's see what happens.
You would think so, as it looks like Max Cost blew up in the background, so getting it back going won't work out for him. As he was second in modified division. Brandon Wallace is also a modified, so Wallace continues. Max Cost day is done. We go back green as we got a battle for the lead. Wright is to third, but Young and Pierce working together. Look at the run Mark Whitley has in the middle, getting up to the front to try to help his teammates.
Oh, man.
Puts Hennings in the wall. Whitley's not making friends.
I don't think Hennings is going to like that too much.
I don't think so. That was really aggressive, but he's trying to get linked up with his teammates. If they get 3 drivers out there controlling this race, he might not even be able to defend that, but those top 2 stay top 2, and Wright and Christian Angel stay in between those 2 and Mark Whitley. Now Stravato getting a push from Reggie Ortega on that bottom line. They're trying to get formed up. That run on the bottom. They got a pretty big run, but you'll see they'll get that surge at the bottom, and Young and Pierce will just side drop them back. But I wonder what Jeff Wright will do once these 2 try to side drop. Do they may try to go to the outside of those 2? I think he has to learn to do so.
So there's the pinch down that we saw, more of the same from the outside line, the 71 to 76. Doing a phenomenal job of controlling the inside line the entirety of this race, and now a good push here from the 2 of Ortega as they go into 1, but I don't think it's going to be enough, and the temps probably becoming a factor again.
Yeah, but they've done such a good job controlling the temps on the top side, but the bottom line not so much. But Travado stays side by side for second as we come half a lap away from 25 to go. As Darrell Young's the next driver to lead this race with front end damage from one of those crashes. The front end kind of dinged in, but hasn't been hurting his pace. Been able to lead this pack no problem. Pierce goes looking low, trying to time the side drop to a 33, but here goes Wright. Got to be careful doing that because now you're going to be having Jeff Wright trying to put them in the middle. If they go in the middle, that could be control of the race gone. They got to flip up their strategy a little bit. They got Stravato on the bottom, and now Jeff Wright trying to ruin their dominance as well. So got 2 things to defend at once. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, and that run down there, it'll work for a little while. But as soon as we get 5 to go, Jeff Wright's going to take that opportunity to the outside. He's not going to allow those guys to give that big of a hole and not try to take it.
Yeah, so you got to make sure you protect your right rear quarter panel if you're Roger Pierce while also keeping that bottom line in check. It's tough to do, but you're not winning this race without doing it as that bottom line once again fades away and we see that outside line start to gain back momentum out of these corners.
Riding on board here with Jeff Wright. Regular season, or inaugural season champion, rather, number 48.
Regular season champ, too.
Yeah. Just a great season. I know that the start of his season was really hot, then it cooled down. Guys started to tighten up that points battle, but when it came playoff time, Jeff Wright just put on a clinic there with, I believe, 4 podium finishes.
Dominant from no wins in the middle stretch, but was still very fast and just dominated beginning to end. That chase, the points gap maybe got a little closer, but it was never really in doubt as Ryan Carwile is going to have to come down and pit a little earlier than he probably wanted, so he'll be alone. And he'll go back a lap down at some point. But yeah, that 48's fast, but the super speedways were not too kind to him. Didn't get wins at either Daytona or Talladega. Ran up front, but wasn't able to be the one to close it out. Now, once again in a position where he could maybe close it out.
Bearded gentleman in front of Caleb Weekly. That's the Twitch handle of Adi Patrika right on board here with the number 82. And these guys have since recovered their race as well. And Weekly has kind of been stagnated here around 13th position. We saw the same from Floyd. It seemed like everybody on the front row right now, their race has been dictated because of these Harpoon design drivers up front.
And until people team up and do well enough to get control away, there's no one else who's going to win this race besides these two. So we're getting close to it. We're down close to about 50 miles to go, I believe, at this point. So you got to find your friends now and make them enemies later. You got to be able to work together, get by those two, and then once you make sure those two don't have control, then you can go and race amongst one another.
And heavy turbulence there for the two of Ortega as he's all over the back bumper of Stravado. Can't get him going again. Outside line prevails. It's gonna take an unexpected blast of speed at the right time. I think if they are able to get the nose over him down the backstretch, I don't think that side draft's going to be quite as effective as they go in the entrance of the turn.
Needed right now as well. Those two have been out front, ahead of the 33 for 4 or 5 laps now. Now Corrado gets that surge back to the bottom. But you don't really want to side drive down the straightaway, so Roger Pierce won't do it. They didn't get fully alongside anyways. You could see bumping, getting a little bit more aggressive. Ortega shoving the 33 into turn number 3, and he's got that run we saw him get the lead with last time, but Roger Pierce grabbed that right rear, and it's going to keep him in check.
So another push here from Ortega. Let's try it again. I know that run dies every time, but Ortega, if he was really pushing the issue, he would be glued to that back bumper while that happens, and it probably would negate some of it. We won't see that until 5 to go, I don't think.
Probably not. You wonder if Christian Angel is even willing to push Jeff Wright, because after the 33 got the lead, those two went to the bottom. He went with them, so not sure if he's a teammate of theirs or not, but either way, you wonder if he's even willing to push the 48 by or just stick with these two to get the best finish possible for him instead of risking it.
Well, Jeff's been hinting at dropping down there, but the 51 not taking the bait. He's going to stay up here in line. He has another guy behind him with the same interest in mind on that hood, and I would say that they're probably all communicating together right now on what to do. Jeff Wright's just kind of the odd man out.
Yeah, you got Mark Whitley there as well, and behind him, then you got Brian Hennings, who survived up to this point. At 57, Dakota Floyd still lurking, but hasn't been able to get back to the front row where he was earlier. As we'll go to Ryan Carwell, they'll pass Ryan Carwell here. Looks like he's going to stay bottom, so that'll slow the bottom line's progress just a little bit longer as he goes a lap down. That really breaks up the bottom line when something like that happens.
Yeah, momentum you can see here in the mirror, the right on board with Pierce. And Jeff Wright's, he's making sure that they stay up there. He might be just keeping that bottom line open for the opportunity that Stravado can push him to the front. He might use that run that they're getting and help complete it, because the defense only works for so long before enough cars get a run.
He's gonna have to, someone's got to give at some point, you would think, as
There's the
squirreliness. There goes Whitley. Wright's blocking it, but 51's gonna get to his right rear, and Angel and Whitley are gonna go by this 48 pretty easily here. And now you're pretty much gonna have 4 cars in control of this race, and that's gonna be even harder to overcome.
I think they just played Jeff Wright out of the line there. They pulled down, he went with them, they pulled back up.
Hennings.
There's Hennings. Let's see if someone can break up this 4-car pack up front.
Event, that's going to have to take all 20 cars. Getting rid of them. Because they just pull that side draft, that's all you need. But they'll get by the 76, but that run off of 2 will get them that lead right back. But Jeff Wright is going to shove the heck out of Brian Hennings, trying to come back that. You can see how squirrely they got. Is almost to the point where, with how well those two are working together, it's going to become personal. They're going to get upset with how they're working together so well. You never want to get colleagued at a super speedway. That's the term I would use when team works so well together, they just dominate super speedway. That's you get colleagued. The rest of the field does, and that's exactly what's happening right now.
So another time by for Dale Young. Roger Pierce led the other half of this since pretty much lap 35, I think we went back green. These guys have stayed pretty consistent. We had that little caution there with Max Cost, but they've traded back and forth since the caution number 4. And I don't know, Connor, what's the strategy here? Do you hit pit road now if you know you can't make it, and hopefully you just win that battle, get ahead of these guys?
If you can't make it, sure, but I think everyone in this field should be able to make it. Went green or got the yellow with under 30 to go, and that last run was further than that. So I see no reason why anyone should have to pit for fuel. We saw the 71 pit after getting a wave around, so I think that was an issue with just his fuel maybe. So we should be good to the end. It should be the race to the end. Now 15 laps to go. You just somehow have to formulate a plan to get those guys off the top line. Someone's going to have to get aggressive and try to get to the right quarter panel into that way third lane. It's risky, but at this point, I don't know if you're going to use that bottom line to get by him. It just seems completely ineffective.
I've noticed here that they don't really pinch or pull down until there's a contest for the lead, so there might be some strategy to that as well to keep the speed up. Running that way outside line. They're 4 cars deep. It's going to be almost impossible for Floyd to do anything about it. But the inside line has built up enough cars, I think maybe. They could just be testing it right now. There could be a move here. Everybody could be sizing these guys up and seeing what works and what doesn't. Let the laps tick away and then surprise them there on the last one. I don't know. This is a product of a car that we haven't seen enough racing from, especially here at SNR. We've seen some drivers at BTDY race this car, and a lot of them prefer the Gen 4 car over this car, which is why I'm really surprised we're even racing it.
The real appeal of the next gen car is the big runs you can get and just the side-by-side racing you get. Just a little bit more authentic than the Gen 4s as lap traffic goes out of the way. Brandon Wallace coming back up. Got to be careful. They keep it down. This has really scrambled everything out. But yeah, this next gen just makes it a little bit more raceable than a Gen 4 car. So that's really why we're at this car. And they're banging doors for second. Jeff Wright's on the apron. Pierce got very aggressive with the side drive that time. As like you said, we're running out of time for drivers to make a move like that.
They must have had a good enough surge that Pierce felt the only way to break it up that time was to give a shove to the door of Brian Hennings. And now they fall back. They have to rebuild again. About 12 to go here as they cross the line.
Yeah, just you don't know if they don't even know if they are really capable.
I
But
think someone
48
in this
on 'em.
bottom is capable of it. I just don't think they're gonna have that guy up front. I don't think that's gonna be the right combination of cars to
gonna have
get
to-
it up there.
You're gonna have to get physical, I would think. You're gonna have to see someone from the bottom lane just completely either get the lead like Travato and then block like hell, or most likely just kind of try to push them up the track and kind of push back against that side draft. It's the only way I think you see them doing anything about it.
Yeah, with this combination of Hennings and Wright, they've been bumper to bumper for so long that I don't think that they can push long enough to actually get up there at the end of this race. Might have to find another driver in this line to shove past that. Here they go, another attempt as they exit turn 2. Wright tries to time it. No side draft yet. And just no moves.
Real issue is that just no one's willing to even try to get to the outside of Mark Whitley. He's really the rear, he's the back of this effort now at this point. If the 57 of Floyd could get to his right rear, maybe something would be cooking. If Dakota Floyd could do something, or even Alex Bell could try something. He's aggressive at times. If anyone's going to try it, it's probably Alex Bell, but he's protecting that top just enough. You can see Darryl Young, Roger Pierce, they're running a little bit lower to the point where they have room for their outside, but Mark Whitley, very protective, not really giving them a lane right now, as those two kind of got a little bit unorganized. And just got side by side for a moment, but once again, that push off the corner as we've taken 10 laps to go that previous time by.
So Young up front, Pierce, Angel, Whitley all on the outside. Then you have Hennings on the inside line, starting to gain back the momentum with Jeff Wright, then Dakota Floyd, AJ Stravato, Alex Bell, and Reggie Ortega the top 10. Again, we'll go back to the biggest movers of the race. You've got 19 spots gained for Mark Whitley, 10 spots gained for Ray Massey, I believe. He's sitting in the 14th spot. And then Reggie Ortega, who was up here in this mix a little bit ago. He was given a good push there to, I believe, Jeff Wright. He finds himself back a little bit deeper now. He's in 8th spot, but I want to say he's on that inside line, so still a chance here that they could get something going between him and Wright. He tried to push Stravato past. That didn't work. Wright got in front of him after that move down the backstretch by all 4 of those cars that put him out of line. Then Hennings drops down in front of that. They've tried so many different combinations of drivers to try to break this up.
Oh, crash! Big hit. Ray Massey's destroyed the front end of that car, hit the wall extremely hard. Joshua Banks, Caleb Weekly, Jonathan Smith were all involved, and that was a huge crash as we crossed the line to take 8 laps to go.
Ray Massey done for the day.
Big time for sure. So let's see what happened here. That happened at the very back of this line. Oh, Jonathan Smith and Banks come together. Ray Massey has nowhere to go. What happens here? That was a pretty big hit. Ray Massey's going all good and just completely blindside hit at the start-finish line. And he got some of the worst of that is
Just trying to find the proper number here.
35. We'll look at Banks, I would
go
think.
board with Banks. I was going to look for, is that Whitley?
Jonathan Smith in the 72 was in that as well. He was
Okay,
the
that's what it
one who
was.
got, yeah. Let's see what happens here. Looks like Banks is trying to get a run of some sort. Looks bottom and just kind of drove into the left rear of Jonathan Smith and causes that crash, I'm afraid. That's kind of a pretty simple one to call, just trying to find a lane in the middle, and there was not one, and causes a pretty hard crash. As that will put us in a window where we'll probably restart with 3 to 4 laps to go, and very big chance it could be our final restart.
We'll have to wait and see with Daryl Young, Roger Pierce. Does anybody have the draft to get by these top 4? They've been running it pretty well consistently since lap 35. But you're watching the Saturday Night Racing League live on V-Speed. We're going to take a quick commercial break and be back live here at Daytona right after this. There isn't a one-size-fits-all for almost anything in life. So don't settle for a one-size-fits-all setup. Eliminate the frustration in building with an AI-powered personalized toolkit to boost you forward to victory. Optimize your setup and improve your performance over those cookie-cutter builds used by the rest of the pack. Vantage is iRacing.com's first AI setup builder. Save your time and give back to your personal life. Vantage takes any setup for any track and adjusts it specifically to your needs. Choose from over 100 cars for any paved circuit, a custom-tailored experience that's easy to understand and tested to fit any driver's style. Subscriptions as low as $8.50 per month. And for a limited time, new members get a 7-day free trial with unlimited access to all Vantage has to offer. Let Orange Speed Vantage free you of the endless loop of testing and get you back on track to victory lane. Visit orangespeedvantage.ai to get started.
It feels like we achieved something bigger than we originally thought we'd ever do. And now look at it, it's grown huge.
My son Reese was born with cancer. What it ended up doing is it crushed his spinal cord. And when he was 3 years old, he got his first wheelchair, and he wanted to be Wall-E for Halloween. So I thought, I can build one. I can, try and see what I can come up with. And so it started with just, building a simple costume, a Wall-E costume around his wheelchair out of a Dell computer box. It has exploded into something that was the inspiration behind Walking and Rolling Costumes. I want to reach more kids, and the only way to do that is to have more volunteers. I want to see every child that wants one of these costumes to get one. If you know a teacher at a high school, or a Boy Scout troop leader, Girl Scout troop leader, any type of group or organization that would like to attempt to build one of these costumes or to help out a child, contact us. We have lots of resources, we have plenty of people willing to help build these costumes, but we need to get the message out. So share this video, let them know about what we do, why we do it, and get us in contact with kids who might need a costume, or any adults or families that would like to help build a costume. We're here for you.
Introducing Tractor USA, the best way to buy and sell premium ag and construction equipment. Tractor USA was designed to be straightforward, simple, and affordable, with zero commission and live auctions every week. Tractor USA auctions offer the finest selection of pre-owned tractors, combines, and other ag and construction equipment from across the United States and the world. Simply go to tractorusa.com to get started today.
Back here live at Daytona International Raceway, and it has been very action-packed. We ticked away a lot of laps here, but we're down to 5 to go. 4 to go when we cross the line. It's been Roger Pierce and Daryl Young controlling the field since about lap 35. I'm your host, Bradley Cooper, and alongside me, Connor Horn. We're back here live, ready for, I believe, our 6th restart here tonight. Connor, as they get ready to go green, pace car pulls off. What do we have in store for us on this restart?
We'll have to see. We're green here. Young gets away, and he's going to probably get Roger Pierce down to the bottom. But he's going to shake things up big time for sure, as Wright's going to have to stay on the top for the time being and try to keep him split from Mark Whitley. He's just going to have to hope he can get by them somehow, because Whitley's not going to help him.
Yeah, Jeff Wright hot on the back bumper. Whitley drops down in front of Hennings. Now the 76, they're playing games up here at the front.
They're sure as heck trying to, but Ortega's going to be able to push a 48. I don't think you want to be on the bottom here. Jeff Wright's going to get a big run for the lead. I'm shocked they gave up control of the top line, and now we got a battle on our hands.
Yeah, we do, and Ortega all over the back bumper of the 48 car. So now the side draft not going to be as effective, and Jeff
Alex
Wright.
Bell 3 wide.
3 wide on the outside, and the 03 in the middle. The 82 comes up on the outside line. He's trying to push Bell.
They're pushing hard with those Harpoon cars. Bell's going to the top. That's going to kill Ortega's push if he gets his right rear. And it looks like those two are going to get back clear, but Mark Whitley can't come with him. Ortega shoving the heck out of that 48, and Roger Pierce and Daryl Young tandem out. That might be too big of a lead, though. Here comes the run from Jeff Wright.
They drop up. They go up high.
Oh.
Wright just clips the back end of the 71. He's not connected anymore. So that disrupts it just enough, and I don't think the 71's going to be able to stop this run. There goes Ortega with Jeff Wright to the lead with 3 laps to go. Here they come across the line.
Look at this gap they have. That's way too far out, but Alex Bell's still working that third lane. Pierce and Young are back tandem up, crashing in the middle of the pack. That's going to be another big crash to 51. Christian Angel went spinning like a top, and once again, we're in green-white checkered range as those two got control of the race at the right time. 57's around as well, but no damage. Wow.
I mean,
that race
great run. I think they regretted the decision of trying to play games on the backstretch, because that set Wright and Ortega up perfectly.
Yeah.
And then that run that they got where they just clipped the 71 going into the entrance of 3 and 4. That separated those two enough. that Wright and Ortega, I mean, they were rocket ships. They took off.
Yeah, they got too far out ahead, so a little fortunate maybe that yellow came out, but we'll get to see what, before we talk about that, we'll see what brought out the yellow. I think it was Bobby Patrica that might have went around. He's the one in the middle, purple and blue. Well, looks like he and Hennings come together, and the 51 has nowhere to go. 57
Heavy hit to
wall.
the outside wall there for the 51.
Sure was. Angel Horonis got some big damage out of that.
Let's go on board here with the 51 car. You'll see right in front of you what happens between the 82 of Patrica or Hennings. I don't know who starts this.
It's not another case of going for the same piece of room. Hennings kind of comes up there. Well, the 82 probably came down a little bit, but he's got to stay in your lane. You got 2 lanes, you got 3 lanes there that I think neither of them could really stay in there. And poor 51 of, 51 there, trying to remember names already. Too early in the season, Christian Angels had nowhere to go. And we see, look how far out those 2 were. I don't think that was a good thing.
No.
Usually want to do that on the last lap, but that was a little early. You can see there, Hennings was well off the double yellow. Christian Angel nowhere to go. Horonis squeezed into the wall, and the 57 gets turned, but he doesn't get too much damage. The 82 had to swerve to avoid him there.
So that brings out our 6th caution of the night. We've had 15 lead changes, and I'd say the 15th one came just within the last couple laps here because we didn't really see much in the way of lead changes after lap 35. These guys really clamped it down up front, but now it's a different picture. Reggie Ortega, Jeff Wright. Unfortunately, going to be starting side by side for this one. They've got a couple teammates behind them that are ready to go.
Yeah, I'm still shocked they went to the bottom to try to control the bottom line. Letting Ortega and Jeff Wright work together on the top side, that was the last thing you need to do. They were doing so well with the side drafting when someone got a run on their inside that there was no reason to do that. I think they, like you said, they were definitely playing games. I think they were really trying to get Mark Whitley clear so they could be those 3, but completely backfired on them. Now, these 2 are side by side, but they're in the same channel. Just like Pearson Young, I thought would have done. They should try to time this so they can get, if you can get just enough of a gap to get one clear ahead of the other, then you're in a much better spot. But then it's really just a 2v2 at this point because you got Noah Mikowski up to 5th. He can do whatever. He's going to go with whoever. He's not affiliated to the Harpoon drivers or the 48 and the 2. And then Alex Bell, who's definitely, I don't think, going to go with those Harpoon guys. I think he's more likely to help out Jeff Wright, Reggie Ortega. And then Mark Whitley, he fell back to 7th in that exchange, so he's not really going to have a chance to help his teammates. While Hennings and Stravato are 8th and 9th. So it's really, that just completely mixed things up trying to play games like that. I'm still shocked about that.
Saturday Night Racing off to another great start for their 2nd season. Then inaugural season, put on a great show with a great points battle. But the one constant in all of that was Jeff Wright just had a phenomenal year, and here he goes trying to start off season number 2 in the same fashion. Can Darrell Young and Roger Pierce get back to the outside and control this race the way they did? They're going to have very limited time as we're in green-white checker mode. For those of you at home that don't understand how that works or have never heard of a green-white checker, we will take the green flag. The drivers will race back to the line. If they make it past the start-finish line for the white flag, the race is official, and they will go back around for the checker. If they don't make it to the white flag, we will have another caution, barring there's an accident, and we'll reset and try it again. We'll extend the race 2 times here tonight. If we are not able to finish before they get to the white flag, we'll officially mark it under yellow. I would have to say, based off of the clash, these guys might clean it up just enough to get to that white flag and then let the chaos ensue.
Yeah, that's kind of what we saw last week with Alex Bell coming out on top. He's in another position that he could maybe steal another one, restarting 6th, but this is going to be interesting. Let's see if we can get back to the white flag. I think if there's a yellow on this, restarts between these top 4 because they're going to be gunning for each other, I would say. I don't think it's going to get dirty, but I think it could get physical. I don't think everyone's. I think we're definitely going to see more games played potentially and more contact. I don't think The drivers on the front row are happy they've been controlling this race. They're going to do everything in their power to keep them out of control and keep them from winning this race. And the other two are probably upset that they lost control of the race, and they're going to get aggressive to try to get it back. They've been aggressive all night long. All of those team cars. The 77's been all over the place tonight trying to get back up to the front. So could get physical, and it really opens the door for everyone. Alex Bell on back.
Yeah, that's the wild card that I was going to go with. He's very aggressive. He's willing to take it 3 wide, and if Jeff Wright and Reggie Ortega get connected on that outside, I'd be looking to see that 15 car take that gap, take that hole when they try to side draft. And I don't know what kind of scenario is going to be played here, but we're about to be finding out with the 48 car on the inside, Ortega on the outside. Green flag is back out, and we're back underway at Daytona, possibly for the last time tonight.
48 got out ahead. Those teammates are going to get together on the bottom, but Bell is going to go with Ortega and Jeff Wright, and those two are left alone. Whitley's going 3 wide on Mikowski to try to help his teammates out, and he's almost
Hennings
below
on
the
the
line.
outside. He needs to hold it up there.
Now it gets tight, but that run's going to be on the top line. They're dooring 3 wide. Whitley's not going to be able to help his teammates, and here comes the run. Jeff Wright and Ortega need Alex Bell as well. They're going to both clear those teammates.
And it's a familiar sight. The drivers and Bell to the bottom with 2 laps to go. He's going to get a shove from the 71.
43 to the top. There goes Hennings to the middle. White flag. Here we go.
This is official now. Whatever happens, happens. Bell
Watch this
drops
43.
down in front. 43 car of Bryce Shoemaker out of nowhere.
Where did he come from? He's got no help, though, and Bell, I'm sure he is going to push him out of 2. They're going to be a stack up, but that top line's strong now with Jeff Wright, Ortega. Hennings back to 3rd. They're 3-4 wide, dumping the 43 out of line. There goes that run as they're in the wall down the back straightaway into 3 for the final time.
And
Weekley's
here
back
comes
to
Caleb
4th.
Weekley, the pole sitter, back
there's
to the
a wreck.
front. Ortega to the bottom.
Here we go. He's got the lead. Here
big
comes Weekley.
run.
He's got the push. Here comes Ortega. It's going to be side by side, maybe. No, Ortega's going to hold him off. Ortega's going to win.
And Reggie Ortega does what he wanted to do in the clash. Caleb Weekley gets 2nd and Jeff Wright 3rd. The guys that were dominant here in the second half of this race were nowhere to be found in the top 5. This pack teamed up against them, and Ryan Carwile, Noah Mikowski, 4th and 5th. They put the 77, the 70, all the way back to 8th and 9th.
That is, they're not going to be happy about that. Daryl Young ends up getting 9th out of that, but Roger Pierce all the way back in 15th got really shuffled back that last lap through all that. So that is going to be a tough pill to swallow for them. But Reggie Ortega, he came inches away from killing the inside wall earlier, then comes back and hits the guy. He said that wasn't intentional when we saw that earlier, by the way. Ends up coming back to the front, working with the 48. They get control of the race on the final restart, and he just made the perfect move to the bottom. Leads only 1 lap, just how the racing gods intend to happen at Daytona International Speedway. But that is a heck of a way to start this season.
Just a phenomenal job by all these drivers. I saw a big run coming from Weekley and Bell and those guys, and they kind of lifted out of the throttle to not kill the 2. They knew that there wasn't a hole there. Jeff Wright playing defense on the outside, and instead of just forcing it in there, they were courteous enough to lift off the throttle and not wreck the 2. Just a great job here for these guys finishing out this race, and kudos to the entire field for trying to break up that tandem of 4 cars. They all had to work together. That was very orchestrated.
Yeah, they definitely had to, but they were helped out by them just trying to get a little too cute with it, I think. Trying to get Mark Whitley involved. It didn't work. as I'm sure they'll probably regret that. But let's go to VSPN's to replay. Everything kicked off with Shoemaker. I still don't know where he came from, but he almost had a shot at this win, but just no help from Alex Bell until it was too late out of 2. And then Bell just decided to go away from him. That's what really killed Roger Pierce, Daryl Young. That ruined that bottom line and leaves that top line to get the run down a straightaway, where Weekly goes to the bottom, and Ortega sees that right here and knows if he's going to win, he has to get down in front, which he does. That just leaves Jeff Wright out to dry. Weekly still has a big run. The hole just closes. Didn't get back to the bottom in time.
There from the 2.
And then all of us just ran out of room, and no one could get a run once they went 3 wide. And then Ortega was off to the races out of 4 after that block. And everyone else wrecked after.
Everyone else was done.
Before the line, after the line. They took it till turn 3 to crash. There was probably 5 different crashes from turn 3 to the exit of a tri-oval. But either way, that was a heck of a job.
Post-race interviews with your top 3. Your winner here tonight, the number 2, Reggie Ortega. Getting it done after that close battle in a 2nd or 3rd place finish. I believe it's 3rd place there in the clash. He's able to get it done in the number 2. We're going to take another quick commercial break while we round up that top 3. You're watching the Saturday Night Racing League live on V-Speed. More after this.
Here comes Milo, big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count out to 37.
Oh! Cabot, where did he come from? Here comes Slack.
A punch from the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it Auto Club.
Back here live at the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Raceway, and it's Reggie Ortega. They got it done after breaking up the tandem. Mark Whitley, Daryl Young fall back to 8th and 9th position. The entire field teamed up and ran the game on the outside. The restart took over, and Jeff Wright is able to push the 2-car past the rest of the field. We're caught up down on pit road. We have your 3rd place finisher here tonight. We're going to catch up with Jeff Wright, 48. And it looked like Jeff here tonight, man. You look like you played defense, you played offense, you did all the things you could to try to break up that tandem, but that final restart, it just all came together, and you got Reggie Ortega in front of you. Great drive, partner.
Yeah, thanks, man. It was fun closing laps there of the race for sure. Couldn't be more happy for Reggie to get that win. He really did a great job helping us get in that position, trying to break up the Harpoon Design guys. But, boy, those guys were really fast tonight, and those guys drove a really good race and just had really good strategy. I mean, those guys were pretty much dominating this thing. And, we were talking in our channel, and we were like, we got to break these guys up, if anybody's going to have a chance to win this thing. So luckily we were able to get around them. Reggie just with a crazy push, able to surge me past them there to get the lead. And then with that late race caution with the green-white checkered, we were just hoping, one of us was going to get it, and, we did. So Reggie getting the win. Awesome seeing Caleb get P2 tonight. I know that's his best finish here in Saturday Night Racing League. And then, I'm kind of just happy just to survive, but to get a 3rd place finish here at Daytona is awesome because, man, these things can be so chaotic. And, one bad mistake or getting caught up in something, and then, you're set back in the points to start the year. So, super stoked, man. And like I said, super happy for Reggie. This is awesome.
So you come home 3rd here tonight. Another great start to the 2nd season at Saturday Night Racing. Defending champion Jeff Wright, do you have anybody you'd like to shout out?
yeah, all the guys Hutton Motorsports sticking in the channel. Even had Brian Hennings in there with us towards the end of the race. He was working with us as well. So appreciate all the teammates and obviously broadcast team. Can't wait to go back and watch this finish. This one was really awesome, especially the ending with Reggie getting the win, and then obviously all our sponsors: Harpoon Design, Tractor USA, Walk and Roll and Costumes. We couldn't put these events on without them, so super thankful for them, and looking forward to get the rest of the season going.
Well, outside of that, Jeff, we thank you for your time. We're going to go on next week, and maybe we'll get to talk to you post-race. But congratulations on a great start to the season.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
I know I did that a little bit out of order there on you, Connor. I apologize about that, but I have caught up with the second place finisher, and it's Caleb Weekly here tonight. Caleb, I'll let you say whatever you want. This is the highest finish you've had all season or all in the history of SNR, and you put it up here after starting on the pole and getting spun out there at the beginning of this race. Did you think you were going to be able to come back?
We were just too wide for so long after I crashed. I didn't know if I was going to be able to get back up there. But then, on that last lap, as soon as me and Noah went up to the front, I knew I was going to get a podium. I just knew it. So, I knew on the last lap. I didn't know for the other 79 laps.
Yeah, and that start to the race seemed like it was kind of detrimental to anybody's mentality. You start up front and guys shuffle you out really quickly, and then you find yourself turned toward the outside wall. You got caught up and 5 or 6 different cars hit you along the way. How long did it take you to get that damage repaired?
I never got it fully repaired. I had almost 6 minutes of damage. I had a meatball. Never got it fully fixed, but it didn't seem to affect me. So with the second to last caution, I just decided, hey, I'm going to go for the track position, and that seemed to just pay off at the end. So I'm glad I didn't fix all the damage, but it was a lot. My steering was all messed up all race, so it was really hard to hold the line. So even with all the damage, I still was able to keep with the pack and almost got the win.
Yeah, I can see it on the right front there. It's still kind of smashed in there for the last couple laps. But Caleb, congratulations on the highest finish you've had here at SNR and a great start to the season. Is there anybody that you would like to shout out for tonight's performance?
Well, the biggest shout out has to go to my Grandma Weekly. And then another shout out just has to go to Noah. I wouldn't even have dreamed about getting even a top 5 if he didn't push me at the end. He was a great teammate. Max and Noah for letting me on Neon Auto. And Jeff and the admins, this league is really fun, and it's all thanks to them.
Well, Caleb, we appreciate that, and we hope to see you back up here in the V-Speed booth. First time up here. Let's try to make a habit out of it and carry that momentum into next week.
Yeah, I feel this first one coming, Bradley. I have a feeling I'm going to be back up here sooner rather than later.
Well, it's right around the corner. Keep finishing second. There's only one more to beat. So, Caleb Weekly, second place tonight. Appreciate your time, buddy.
Thanks, Bradley.
And finally, we have Connor Horn down in victory lane. He's with Reggie. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Excellent job there, Bradley Cooper. But he's with Reggie Ortega down in victory lane. And the number 2, Connor Horn, down there with him now.
I am with him. It's he's pretty excited down here, as you could tell. Reggie, you led 1 lap, but it was the most important lap of the race. You seemed like you had no control of the race, and it seemed like it was going to be like that until the very end, until that late caution came out, and then games got played, and then you and Jeff Wright went to the front. Were you surprised that all those teammates went to the bottom like that, down the back straightaway?
I was absolutely surprised. They held it up on the top so good, and they kept getting us. They kept killing our draft on the bottom with the side draft, and we just couldn't get up there on the bottom. But I knew that once I was up top, and me and Jeff had hooked up on the top, that we were just gonna set sail from there. There was one point where, man, we were just driving so good past them, and we went down on the bottom of them, and I almost thought it was a mistake because the bottom is. It just there wasn't enough to go anywhere down there, but we made it happen.
Yeah, he definitely made it happen at the very end of the day with about, well, it was about 4 laps of racing to go, going to the top and then getting them at that point, and then having control of the restart. You two, for the final green-white checkered, or the only green-white checkered, the final restart of this race, you guys had control. It was you pushing Jeff right, and then the bottom lane kind of fizzled out and gave you an avenue to the bottom. What were you thinking going down the back straightaway? Do you think you had this race won?
Definitely felt like I had it won because that's one of the positions you want to be in. You know, coming to the checker flag, second or third place, because you could just drive down to the bottom of the driver that you're pushing and hope that someone's going to be behind you to give you the push. And I saw Caleb behind me, and I knew that he was going to try to get around me, but I had to block, and the push definitely got me a little squirmy, and I thought he was gonna get me going sideways, but man, we managed to stay ahead of him, and oh my god, I'm so pumped. I'm so pumped, shaking, everything. It's awesome.
I could definitely tell you're pumped for this one. First win of the season, obviously, and this time it wasn't by a thousandth of a second like it was the beginning of last season at Daytona. He got this one with a big block on Caleb Weekly as well in the victory lane. Anyone you want to thank for this, Reggie?
Yep, definitely want to thank everybody, of course, that's been a part of the league, and you guys up in the booth, and you guys have done obviously a good job. And got to thank these Hutton Motorsports engines and the chassis that they build, and we're back-to-back Daytona winners, baby.
Yes, sir. And big time for you, Reggie Ortega. You draw first blood on the Saturday Night Racing League Season 2. Congratulations. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you, guys.
So there's your race winner, Reggie Ortega in the number 2. And statistically, it was a good day for Hutton Motorsports. It was a great day for a lot of drivers that didn't have a good season last year, starting off on a high note. What do you say? We bring those final results up on your screen now and go through Ortega, Weekly, and Wright. They get the top 3, and we got the post-race talk to them. But it's the 71, the 03, the 74. I mean, Carlisle, Mikowski, Hennings, Bell, those guys that didn't really have anything up in the top 5 all night. Here they come surging towards the end. Mark Whitley and Darrell Young just end up, I mean, they're not a terrible finish. They're still in the top 10, but not where they would have wanted to be at that final restart, being up front. Rounding out that top 10, though, is Jerry Bergeron, and I'll tell you what, the 30 car, he had an up and down night as well. So a lot of guys that struggled or had damage, they end up back up towards the front here after this restart.
And a few drivers outran crashes as well. Ryan Carwell getting up to 4th. That was an incredible comeback. He was 2 laps down at one point. Bryce Shoemaker, he was about 2nd out of turn number 2 on the final lap. He ends up all the way back at 11th. And then we got a few other drivers down there. 57, thought Dakota Florida to play a factor. Just could never get back up to the front once he lost the lead. 13th for him.
We Bobby Patrica there in 12th. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, Bobby Patrica in 12th. Keith Shoemaker also made a charge at the end. Into the 14th position. Roger Pierce fell all the way back to 15th, and he led majority of this race. It's going to be a tough pill to swallow. The 14 was involved in a crash pretty early, for yellow. Chris Sawyer, 16th. Travato, he was fast, but he just could never get up there near the front with his other teammates, so he's back in 17th. Michael Kostic took a big hit early in the race, but he got back to 18th. That's honestly a pretty decent recovery for him. Same thing with Joshua Banks, who had big damage near the end. He finishes 19th, and Andrew Heron is kind of quiet all day, finishes 20th.
You've got the 51 of Christian Angel. He's going to come home in 21st. So Jonathan Smith in 22nd. Taylor Butcher Benjamin 23rd. Brandon Wallace in 24th. Mark McFadden, who was up front for a lot of this day, 25th. Ray Massey, heavy damage. Max Cost, heavy damage. A lot of these guys more than 1 lap down. Eric Hutton, Joseph Bink-Warder, Chuck Sweeting, Nick Starling, and Chad Klinger are going to round out that field. So it was another great one here tonight at Daytona. The season opener for season number 2 at Saturday Night Racing League. If you guys enjoyed tonight's broadcast, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss a single race live here on V-Speed. The Saturday Night Racing League will continue more coverage. Bring that schedule up on your screen. We're going to go to Homestead, Miami for next race. And we're going to be resuming the racing in the Xfinity cars. So the next generation car only going to be a part of the super speedways. We will be back in this car during the chase at Talladega. But we have an off week there on the 17th and the 30th. We got a lot of weeks of racing though. 20 races in all with the 6-race chase. But for everybody here at V-Speed that helped put on the show, Adam Baker that does all the stuff behind the scenes, my co-host Connor Horn does a fantastic job. This is Bradley Cooper telling you to have a great rest of your weekend. Go Packers, and have a good night, everybody.
And here comes Milo, big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count out to 37.
Oh!
Burned!
Cabot, where did he come from? Here comes Slack.
A punch from the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it Auto Club.
There isn't a one-size-fits-all for almost anything in life. So don't settle for a one-size-fits-all setup. Eliminate the frustration in building with an AI-powered personalized toolkit to boost you forward to victory. Optimize your setup and improve your performance over those cookie-cutter builds used by the rest of the pack. Vantage is iRacing.com's first AI setup builder. Save your time and give back to your personal life. Vantage takes any setup for any track and adjusts it specifically to your needs. Choose from over 100 cars for any paved circuit, a custom-tailored experience that's easy to understand and tested to fit any driver style. Subscriptions as low as $8.50 per month. And for a limited time, new members get a 7-day free trial with unlimited access to all Vantage has to offer. Let Orange Speed Vantage free you of the endless loop of testing and get you back on track to victory lane. Visit orangespeedvantage.ai to get